Commissioner Almendral, Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Hardy,
Present.
Commissioner Jauregui, Commissioner Rincon, Commissioner Shipp,
Present.
Vice Chair Christie,
Present.
Chair Marashi.
Here.
Chair, quorum has been reached at 4:37 p.m.
I ask Commissioner Janelle Hardy to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would like to remind my fellow commissioners to turn on your microphone on when speaking and off when not. And when speaking, please place the microphone about 4 inches away from you. Thank you. Members of the public may attend the Historic Resource Commission meetings in person or virtually via Zoom. I now invite the Commission Secretary to describe the way the public can access and participate in this meeting.
This meeting is being live streamed via our portal, www.santa-ana.primegov.com/public/portal, and to www.youtube.com/City of Santa Ana videos. If you would like to provide a public comment, you may do so in the following ways. Join the meeting via Zoom. Enter meeting ID number 86047836-975. When the item that you would like to comment on is being discussed, select the hand icon to let us know you would like to speak. You will be called upon by the name you entered. You also can join the meeting by calling 669-900-6833. Enter meeting ID number 86047836-975. When the item that you would like to comment on is being discussed, press 9 to let us know you would like to speak. You will then be called upon by the last 3 digits of your phone number. After you are called upon, you may press 6 to unmute yourself. For those who are attending this meeting in person and would like to provide public comment, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. All speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. I will alert you when your time is up.
Moving on to public comments on non-agendized items or non-public hearing items. Secretary, does anyone wish to speak?
Chair, we have received 1 e-comment before the 3:30 p.m. deadline, which has been distributed to the commission, and it has been published online. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on non-agenda items, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on non-agenda items, please select the hand icon and unmute yourself. If you are calling in and would like to comment on non-agenda items, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Moving on to the consent calendar. Before we take motion and vote, do any of the commissioners have anything they wish to disclose related to any of the items on the consent calendar? Is there a motion to approve item A, minutes from the September 23rd, 2025 meeting? Item B, excused absences. And item C, historical property preservation agreement number 2025-11 for the property located at 1218 North French Street.
I have a old item number. No second.
Okay. Do I have a motion for A and B?
I can make a motion, Chair.
Okay, we have a motion
To
by...
move A and B.
I'll go ahead and second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hardy and a second by Commissioner Escamilla. Secretary, please call for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Almendral, Commissioner Escamilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Hardy,
Yes.
Commissioner Jauregui, Commissioner Rincon, Commissioner Ship,
Yes.
Vice Chair Christie,
Yes.
Chair Marashi.
Yes.
Motion has been approved by majority vote with Commissioner Almendral and Commissioner Rincon absent.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments on item C, Historical Property Preservation Agreement? Yes, Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I just, the reason why I pulled it, I know that it has a lot of restoration to go onto that property and so forth. And one of the things that we're finding are these windows, like, coming up, and that somehow they're sneaking in, what do you call that, vinyl? Vinyl. That's not, what I'm asking staff to do, pay close attention to the repairs of these windows, that it is to be like for like. Somehow this is slipping by us, and we really, need to make sure that when they come in for the Mills Act, that when they said we want this to restore the property to the original condition, that it is the original condition. I know that, it's in historic Winter Park, it's already on our register, but somehow when they're repairing, they're coming in for the Mills Act, they're lowering the standards by putting in vinyl windows instead of one that's there. And we got to keep the integrity of the commission and integrity of the designation as a historic property. So please, with that, I'm asking you to really monitor these windows that are coming in to be replaced under the Mills Act. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners with any comments on item C? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move for the approval of the Mills Act agreement on the property located at 1218 North Fred Street. That the city manager and the clerk to execute the property preservation agreement Mills Act with Anna Lozano and for the property located subject to non-substantive changes approved by the city manager and city attorney.
Thank you. We have a motion by Vice Chair Christie. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Ship. Secretary, please call for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Almendral, Commissioner Escamilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Hardy,
Yes.
Commissioner Jauregui,
Yes.
Commissioner Rincon, Commissioner Ship,
Aye.
Vice Chair Christie,
Aye.
Chair Marashi.
Yes.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Almendral and Commissioner Rincon absent.
That concludes the consent calendar. As there are no public hearing items, we will move on to the administrative matters session. The item up for discussion is the ad hoc committee recommendation for the 2025 City of Santa Ana Historic Preservation Award winners. James Williams will now provide a brief presentation on the ad hoc committee recommendations.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. The ad hoc committee with staff assistants has selected nominations for the 2025 City of Santa Ana Historic Preservation Awards. 4 projects have been nominated as examples of well-executed restoration efforts, as well as for general merit in the field of historic preservation. The nominees include the Kosselman House at 424 South Broadway and 3 properties located in the Henninger Park neighborhood, including 606 South Van Ness Avenue, 616 to 618 South Van Ness Avenue, and 821 South Van Ness Avenue. The nominees are each proposed for one of two categories, rehabilitation and award of merit. A rehabilitation award recognizes the exceptional rehabilitation of a historic property's exterior structure. Rehabilitation includes the reconstruction of the structure or site to its original appearance. An award of merit is awarded for a significant measure taken forward the goals of historic preservation. On behalf of the ad hoc committee, staff recommends the commission approve the following nominations. The first nominee is the Kosselman House at 424 South Broadway, which is nominated in the category rehabilitation. Constructed in 1911, the Kosselman House is listed on the Santa Ana Register in the key category as a good example of a craftsman-style residence. The restoration work designed by the firm OC Drafting and Design consisted of the following: reconstruction of the front porch stairs with new piers and caps based on the design and materials of the historic features, removal of certain non-original features, the repainting of the exterior in a stylistically appropriate three-color scheme, and the installation of a period-appropriate decorative rain gutters to help maintain the integrity of the foundation. Additional work on the site included the scaling back of front yard plantings to allow for a clear view corridor and construction of a stylistically appropriate front and side yard fencing. The work represents painstaking rehabilitation and is generally consistent with Chapter 13 of the Santa Ana Citywide Architectural Design Guidelines and the Secretary of the Interior's Standards for Rehabilitation. The next nominee is the property at 606 South Van Ness Avenue, nominated for the Award of Merit. Although the property is not listed on the Santa Ana Register, it is a good example of a 1920s bungalow with colonial revival style architectural elements and is located in specific development 40, for which the city has adopted special design guidelines to preserve the historic character of the Henninger Park neighborhood. Property owner Takeuchi Tetsuya and contractor Moza Nabasi completed the work on the property, including the installation of 24 new vinyl sash windows, which maintain the location, dimensions, method of operation, and overall design and appearance of each of the historic windows. All the original wood window trim was retained as part of this work. The deteriorated clapboard siding on the south elevation was repaired or replaced as necessary. The exterior of the residence was repainted to enhance its appearance, and the landscaping was improved in a style consistent with the bungalow's historical character and to maintain the visibility of the intact historic detached garage. All work was completed by October 2024 and is generally consistent with the Henninger Park Architectural Design Guidelines and in the overall spirit of the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation. Although modern vinyl windows were installed, the project still exemplifies the spirit of preservation through its thoughtful approach to rehabilitation. The owner demonstrated a clear understanding of the home's historic character and took deliberate steps to ensure new materials respected its proportions and detailing. And by retaining the original trim, preserving historic siding, and maintaining the home's defining elements, the project successfully balances practical rehabilitation needs with long-term preservation goal values. The next nominee is the property at 616 to 618 South Van Ness Avenue, which is nominated in the category Award of Merit. Constructed in 1922, the property is a rare example of a bungalow court in Santa Ana. Typical of a bungalow court, the property historically consisted of 3 detached units arranged in a U-plan around a central court. Although the property is not listed on the Santa Ana Register, it is located within SD 40. It is recommended that the property owner, Siam Exiani, and designer Benjamin Neruzzi of BN Design Build be awarded for work on the property, which overall consisted of the rehabilitation of 3 historic buildings on the property and construction of a new ADU. Specific work involving the historic buildings included the legalization of unpermitted vinyl windows that were designed to match the appearance of the property's lost historic windows, including their dimensions, glazing patterns, styles, and methods of operation. In addition, there was the restoration of demolished and deteriorated architectural features. This work was done based on a review of the surviving features and photographic evidence. In addition, there new front doors appropriate to the California bungalow style were installed. An accessory dwelling unit conversion was undertaken at the rear building's ground level garage and was completed with sensitivity to the historical development and style of the property. And the buildings were all repainted and the site landscape to enhance the property's appearance. In addition to the work done on the historic buildings, in May 2025, the property owner began development of a two-story detached ADU designed by architect Benjamin Neruzzi. The new detached two-story ADU was designed to be consistent in plan and design with historical character of the property. To that end, the new building included a gable roof with ornamental brackets, horizontal wood siding, and windows patterned on those of the historic units. Work throughout the property was finished in June 2025 and was undertaken generally in the spirit of the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation and the Henninger Park Architectural Design Guidelines. Although vinyl windows were also used in this case, the project stands out as exemplary in the demonstration of the spirit of preservation. The owner and architect showed an extraordinary commitment to compatibility, craftsmanship, and stewardship, ensuring that every intervention respected the original design intent and maintained the bungalow court, or maintained the court's defining spatial relationships. Through the restoration of missing architectural details, the thoughtful integration of new residential units, and the revitalization of the historic site plan, the project not only preserves the architectural essence of the bungalow court, but also breathes new life into a rare housing typology. The final nominee is the property at 821 South Van Ness Avenue, which is nominated for Award of Merit. Constructed in 1922, the property is a good example of a craftsman bungalow. Although it is not listed on the Santa Ana Register, it is located in specific development 40, Henninger Park. Project designer Zanew's Design and Construction is recognized for the effort to restore the house's extensively altered historic windows and more generally to enhance the property's appearance. Work began in August 2024, centered on restoring 8 wood sash windows concurrent to an interior remodeling. The restoration of the windows included the reconstruction of 2 highly detailed tripartite windows that flank the front door. This is based on photographic evidence. In addition, restoration of windows elsewhere installed new wood sash hung windows. Besides the window restoration, a glazed wood replacement door appropriate to the California bungalow style was installed at the front entrance. The exterior was repainted, and front yard irrigation was installed to bring the landscaping to a lush appearance appropriate for the style. Work carried out through 2025 focused on preserving the property's historical character and appearance with in-kind and compatible features, and was thus undertaken in the spirit of the Henninger Park Architectural Design Guidelines and the Secretary of the Interior Standards. The project is recognized for its dedication to restoring lost architectural integrity, enhancing neighborhood character, and demonstrating how careful incremental preservation work can have a meaningful impact on the visual and cultural continuity of a special historic area. With that, staff recommends the commission approve the ad hoc committee nominations for the 2025 City of Santa Ana Historic Preservation Awards. The awards are recommended for 424 South Broadway, the Castleman House, 606 South Van Ness Avenue, 616 to 618 South Van Ness Avenue, and 821 South Van Ness Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Opening the meeting up for public comment. Secretary, do we have anybody who would wish to speak on this matter?
Chair, we currently have one public speaker in-house. If you are currently in Zoom or calling in, I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we only have one, and his name is Tim Rush.
Tim?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, staff. These, of course, are proposed nominees for these awards. And if I understood the consultant's comments properly, there's one of them, at least one, maybe there's more than one. I think it's the third one, the one that is the U-shaped, what is it, a triplex, or adding a two-story ADU in the back, is that right? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So at least that one, but I could be mistaken. Maybe there's more. I'm a bit flabbergasted that my ears heard that we're proposing for an award a property that has vinyl windows. Have we lost our mind? This is a Historic Resources Commission. Now, from the street, it is a beautiful, all of them represent a great restoration project. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a very slippery slope. We can't do this. I mean, we just can't do this. This is wrong on every level. It violates the Secretary of the Interior standards. Think of all the people that we pulled through knotholes in French Park and other parts of the city who have spent tens of thousands of dollars putting in vinyl doors and windows, and we said, no, you can't do that. And they were torn out, and we made them put in like for like. I'm just flabbergasted that we would be proposing. I'm assuming somebody's lost their way and maybe had a momentary lapse and wrote this up and maybe didn't realize what they were doing. And I'm not trying to be funny, but this is wrong, absolutely wrong. So I hope that you will carefully consider your choices tonight and that you will not approve. Now, maybe you can give them a tentative award that says, we're going to give you this award once you've installed like for like. But you don't get to have this prize by doing it the wrong way. That isn't how it works in Santa Ana. And it certainly isn't how it works with preservation. So next thing you know, we're going to be approving buildings that are wrong on many different levels, not just vinyl doors and windows. But I think you really have to question what you're doing. And I have to question staff's involvement here to bring forward properties that have vinyl doors. What is going on? So, thank you.
Right. Thank you
Did you
very
have a
much,
question?
Mr. Rush.
Thank you.
Not hearing any other comments, I'll bring it back to the commission. Would the commission like to discuss the matter before making a motion? Yes, Commissioner Hardy.
Yes, I appreciate your concern, Mr. Rush, but it's my understanding, and I'll put this in the hands of our planning staff members after I say what I have to say, but it's my understanding that Hettinger Park's architectural design guidelines are different than French Park's architectural design guidelines. When they were, a few years ago, changed and then adopted, they'd never been adopted before by council. One of the changes that were made was that under the Hettinger Park architectural design guidelines, yes, like for like was part of the design guidelines, with the exception of material. The materials did not have to be the same. The same location, the same size, the same style of operation, the same trims, etc., but the material could be different. And that's how, one of the areas that Hettinger Park's architectural design guidelines are different. Now, these properties, 3 of them, are not listed on Santa Ana's Historic Register. So their facade alterations or rehabilitation would fall back over onto Hettinger Park's design guidelines. And because they did meet the criteria in Hettinger Park's design guidelines, they could be eligible for an award. The Koselman House is a key property that is on Santa Ana's Register of Historic Properties. It's also in Hettinger Park, so we need to correct the documentation here. All 4 of these properties are in Hettinger Park. And their alterations and rehabilitation to their facade should fall within the more stringent guidelines, where it would be like for like, wood windows would need to be replaced with wood windows. So then I refer back to planning staff because I may not have it correct, but that's my understanding, and hopefully that will help.
That's exactly what I'd like to hear. When you see a property from Hettinger Park coming in front of the planning department, what do they look at when they're judging whether to issue permits or not? Are they looking at the interior standards or not? What is the story?
Thank you, Chair. I'll provide a response just high level for the award program, why the nominees before you are before you, and then I'll have Pedro and then James fill in some of the information related to the specifics as far as what Hettinger Park design guidelines require and what they don't require. So first, to one of the points that was made about why are these presented, these are not nominations that were made by staff. These were taken by members of the public. Staff did not have a determination on who was going to be awarded these awards. This was part of the ad hoc committee's responsibility. Staff merely provided assistance in convening the ad hoc committee and making sure, or at least facilitating that discussion in the selection. So there are 2 present ad hoc committee members here tonight, and in addition, there was a representative from the Planning Commission, Commissioner Baufam, that's a licensed architect that also assisted with selection of the awards tonight. So that's why these are being presented to this commission tonight based on the recommendation of the ad hoc committee. And then I'll have Pedro and James fill in some of the information related to the specifics as far as what in Hettinger Park requires a like for like, a wood window sash, or what would allow for a newer or different type of material.
Yes.
Do you permit me, Pedro, to correct myself? Okay, I believe I misspoke. It is a little bit confusing. So if a property is on the historic register, then the Hettinger Park design guidelines kick in. And I believe they do require like for like, wood windows, must be wood windows. But if a property is not on the historic register, then review goes to the citywide design guidelines, and the citywide design guidelines do not require wood windows to be replaced with wood windows. So then I will send it back to planning and they can help clarify.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's exactly right. And Chair, to your question earlier, what does staff look at when we're presented with property owners that want to make changes to their homes? We look for where the property is located in the city. And if it's located in the zoning designation specific development 40, which is the Hettinger Park neighborhood, then we have to review that specific change per the specific ordinance requirements in Henninger Park. What's codified as part of Henninger Park is their design guidelines as well. So it is a code requirement for them to comply with the guidelines. In the guidelines, there's a tiered system of how to approach properties that are listed historic, that's on a local register, state register, or federal, and how to deal with properties that are not historic, but may be identified in what's called an Appendix A as potentially historic, and how to deal with properties that are neither, not historic and not Appendix A. And so what Commissioner Hardy mentioned about properties being applied the citywide design guidelines where they're not historic and not Appendix A, that's true. And there's a little bit more flexibility to allow vinyl windows because these properties don't have the benefit of ever getting on a Mills Act. So it doesn't really make sense to require them to do like for like with windows with the sort of cost that goes behind that. And they don't have a benefit of ever applying and getting property tax benefits. So that's kind of how we see that. The other properties, of course, we apply the standards. So the Secretary of Interior standards apply for historic properties no matter what. So there's no way around that. And if someone's proposing a vinyl window on a historic property and they're persistent in that, then it'd be presented in front of this commission to opine on that. That's through a certificate of appropriateness, through a HEMA. We would recommend denial, of course, because that's not consistent for the standards. And then for the Appendix A, the standards are pretty clear that they require like for like as well. So that's kind of a high level of what we look for. And then I just really wanted to provide a couple more comments on what our planning manager mentioned. I think one of the struggles that staff has, and I don't want to speak for the ad hoc committee, but is kind of every year we struggle with getting nominees for this historic awards program. And so we rely on the commission to help us spread the word. And we struggle with getting interest beyond this commission, beyond the small group of people from the larger community for historic preservation. It's no secret, right? There's a small group of folks who are interested and then the rest of the population is not. So we're trying to really spread the word. And so from what I understood of the ad hoc committee, in identifying and awarding these properties that are not necessarily historic, but they've done work that captures the spirit of historic preservation, hopefully we can start reaching out to more people and start getting bona fide historic properties that come in and get nominations. So I think that's really the intent behind this. I do understand some of the concerns from the community. Regarding windows, if there ever was a property that somehow became eligible in the future, that is something that is one of the easier things to kind of remedy versus additions, for example, two-story additions. So anyways, I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any other? Yes, Vice Chair.
Okay. Go to 821 South Furnace. Venice. Okay. When was this picture taken?
Within the last 2 weeks, Christian Centeno, the last week.
Okay. It's the view. We went over there the other day, okay, to look at it. I had to drive by twice to find this house. It is overgrown. And if this is going on our ward, it has to be the view corridor. Nobody's able to see it. I think Chair Marashi has pictures of it he took. He went out today. And I mean, you got your SD stamp, but you also have the view corridor. If we're going to do this as a ward, who's going to look at this and say when it's overgrown? So the view corridor plays an important matter when we are giving this an award of merit. If they're not taking care of the overgrown, how can I give this an award of merit? I mean, it lacks the attention of the view corridor or property pride. So I really have a problem with this because of the fact that this does not represent the condition of that property as of today, and you're coming before us. So I really have a problem of even mentioning this. Maybe next year or something, when they clean it up, they can, bring it back. But I, for one, would not be supporting this for a ward because we gotta have standards here. We gotta have standards. Your SD covers with the wood and so forth, but our view corridor for that, the condition of the view of the property, you can't even see the windows or anything out there from the street. Like I said, I had to drive by it twice, and there's no parking on that street for me to park on there because, I mean, that street is full, of cars and everything else. And I'm going, are you kidding? And then I didn't want to get hit with the car behind me, because I would be impeding the flow of traffic there. So with this, we got to, maybe I'm suggesting that, the style of the house maybe is okay, but bring it to a condition that meets our standards. We would never approve on a historic resource without the property owners clearing that view for people to come in. Okay? Yes.
Commissioner.
I have something else to say about Hettinger Park that makes it a little different, just some more layers. Yes, it's complicated. First of all, our general plan talks about historically sensitive areas. That is a category Hettinger Park is in. Also, it has a special zoning, SD 40, specific development zoning that has historic preservation overlay. And also, Hettinger Park neighborhood has a completed survey, which makes it very unique. I think it's the only neighborhood that has a survey that hasn't been adopted as a historic district of some kind or another, not even a local district. And I've had conversations that Hettinger Park needs to be, because it does have an existing survey, the next area to at least look at being adopted as a local district. So you see, it is unique, it is different, and these last two aspects I talked about does make the properties, every property within the district, qualified to be nominated. That doesn't mean they qualify for an award, that's up to us. But not all properties in the city, no matter how old they are, or unique, or historic, are always able to be nominated. In Hettinger Park, I believe all the properties are eligible for a nomination. So, and as far as view corridor, that might only apply to Mills Act properties. Thank you.
Is that true?
That's correct.
Millsack?
Yes, it's specific language in the agreement itself to maintain view corridors as part of the benefit of getting a property tax savings.
So, correct me. You have a house. You can't even see the house for the maintenance of the front property because, and that's eligible for an award?
It's up to you. It's up to the commission. Yeah.
If I may, Chair.
Yes. Commissioner Muscomio.
Yeah, I think part of the context here is just the before and after of the work. So can we pull up the 2022 Google Street View of it, just to kind of show why at least this particular property might be under consideration?
You have the picture.
Well, yeah, just so they can show, because I think that that's why, at least for this particular property, it might be under consideration. Though I do understand the view corridor concern. If we just go to the historic one, should be top left where the circle is. Yeah. So more data, yep, there you go. And then just any of the previous ones, really. Yeah, so you can see, and just zoom in a little for the staff. So this is what it looked like before. So I think this one, it's because of the improvement as to what the original condition was. So I think that's where the encouragement is, hey, this is what you started off with, this is what you can do, we encourage this in this community, so I think that like makes a little bit more sense. I don't know the conditions of the other two sites, but this one, stuck out to me at least for that reason.
Can't support.
Any other commissioners with comments? Yes, Commissioner.
So
Here.
hopefully, to reiterate what I'm understanding, that being that the Henniger Park has very specific guidelines for what's historic, but then to recognize the effort to maintain the spirit of the historic feel of the neighborhood. It's the reason we're recognizing these specific properties that have the vinyl windows, but the restoration to maintain the properties by the owners is still within the architectural feel of the neighborhood, that we're recognizing them, not because they're historic, key, legend, or legacy, of whatever. It's just that they've been keeping in the spirit of Henninger Park, the historic neighborhood. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So the guidelines and the care, so in order to honor our commission, would they be identified as just keeping in the spirit, but not giving them all the accolades or all the benefits of what the Secretary of Interior would require, and the public would understand that?
Absolutely.
Would that satisfy then everybody? I think that would help. If there's a clarification that they kept within the spirit, but it's not, definitely not, that we're recognizing them as contributive key.
Yeah, it's part of the report that's been provided to you, and a part of the record in the staff report. It's very clear that these have identified as non-historic. They're clearly vinyl windows, and that they're awarded the awards of merit, or recommended to be awarded awards of merit, purely because of that spirit of preservation, right? But awarding these homes does not make them historic. It does not make them eligible for a Mills Act. It doesn't do any of that. It's a program that we've made up to try to educate folks and spread the word, and it doesn't have any sort of fiscal impacts, nothing. And so the commission's here tasked with taking the information provided by the ad hoc and deciding whether they agree to the nominations or not. You can say yes to all of them, yes to some of them, no to all of them.
Encouraging neighbors to maintain property, at least the spirit of the community, so it keeps its uniqueness, is good. I would encourage landscaping cleanup so we can appreciate that work. I would definitely encourage that. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, I do have some other things to say. All of these houses, all four of them, are well over 100 years old, I believe, okay? Three of the houses that are small and not as spectacular, but were, at the time they were built, they were 100 years old. So they do all have, character-defining architectural features that all three of these properties, well, two of the properties had, the front facades had been absolutely almost destroyed. And they, through code enforcement, through city staff, they were able to get these property owners to understand that they did have something special, and it was worth reconstructing architectural defining features, and it was worth returning these properties to a look and feel of Henninger Park neighborhood as it was 100 years ago. And if you read what it says, award of merit for any significant measure taken to forward the goals of historic preservation. These property owners did meet that criteria. So I rest my case.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, Commissioner Escamilla.
Yeah, so just wondering, have we awarded any award of merit to the Floral Park Neighborhood Association yet? Just for the creation of the Floral Park Historic District? So I'm not sure if we did that in 2024 yet.
There hasn't been a nomination for it.
Okay, so I think at this, Yeah, we're getting some kind of feedback, but I would like to include the Floral Park Neighborhood Association as part of the award of merit. I think that's the only one they fall under. But I would like to give them the award for the efforts that they did in nominating the historic Floral Park District, right? I think we should recognize that as soon as possible. Probably as part of this.
Mr. Chair? That
Yes,
has to come up later.
correct.
Because we're on a certain, you can do it after we take care of this business.
No, but this is like part of the recommendations, right? Are we still kind of discussing? I'm looking to staff on this one.
So
No,
the-
you're nominating another area, and therefore
Right, but
we're
we're-
concentrated on.
We came in with the ad hoc recommendations, but again, through the chair, I'd like to
All right.
hear staff.
Thank you very much. So
So
he
the-
was just commenting. It's not agendized. We're not going to act on that tonight. Okay. Any other questions or comments? I do have one. So let's go back to picture 606. And this is a question for James. James, let's say that those windows were not vinyl. They were the original windows. Would that house qualify to be on the register, in your opinion?
It is very hard to say without having actually set foot on the property. I see potential for it.
Okay,
because-
that's good enough, potential. Okay, now, would that house qualify today to be on the historic register?
Again, this is provisional, but I think it's unlikely given there are numerous vinyl windows there.
Right. So when I drove by this house, this one specifically, I didn't even have to get out of the car. I could see immediately those windows were changed out. Nobody had to point that out to me. They're double pane windows with a metal divider on the inside. It's nothing like the original set of windows. So how can I possibly vote, this is personal in my opinion, how could I possibly vote for a house which potentially could have been on the historic register that had 24 vinyl windows put in it that now removed it, and there's no way it can be on the register unless they put it all back? How can you get a preservation award for doing that, for this house? I understand the SD, they have their own guidelines and things like that, but in the end, that's what I judged it on this property. Other ones, I will be voting yes, but that's just how I looked at it from my point of view. Okay, so if there's no other comments, is there a motion to approve this matter? I personally would like to pull item 2, this 6060 property, and vote on that separately. So you can either pull properties or vote on all of them, but yes.
I'd like to pull 821.
Okay, we'll discuss those separately and vote on those separately, okay? Is there a motion for approving the other two? Or do you want to pull any others?
I can make a motion. I don't know if I'm allowed to as a person that was part of the ad hoc committee. So, but
That's a question for Brandon. Brandon, could she vote even though she was on the ad hoc committee?
Yes, I believe she should be able to vote.
Great.
Given that there's no actual conflict of interest.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, I would, yes, exactly. It's staff recommendation.
okay, I don't see where it is.
Recommend.
Okay, I'd like to recommend approval of the nominations for Historic Preservation Awards for 2025, except the properties that were pulled for discussion.
Do I hear a second? Second from Irma. So we have a motion to approve 2 of the properties and a motion and a second by Commissioner Harrigy. The properties that we're pulling and discussing are 606 Van Ness, and Vice Chair, yours was
821.
821 Van Ness. Okay, Secretary, please call for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Almendral, Commissioner Escamilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Hardy,
Yes.
Commissioner Jauregui,
Yes.
Commissioner Rincon, Commissioner Ship,
Yes.
Vice Chair Christie,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
Chair Marashi.
Yes.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Almendral and Commissioner Rincon absent.
Okay, moving on to the property at 606 Van Ness. Is there any discussion or motion?
Chair, I move that the property on 606 Van Ness be removed from nomination.
Okay, we have a motion to remove it? Sure, or an amendment?
Well, it hasn't been
so-
seconded yet. Hasn't been seconded, so.
Do we have a second to remove it? I will second to remove it. Secretary, please call for a vote.
Commissioner Almendral, Commissioner Escamilla,
Nay.
Commissioner Hardy,
No.
Commissioner Jauregui,
Oh, my gosh. No.
Commissioner Rincon, Commissioner Ship,
No.
Vice Chair Christie,
Yes.
Chair Marashi.
Yes. Okay, now,
Motion fails
thank you. All right,
with Commissioner Almendral and Commissioner Rincon absent.
okay, so now we need a motion to approve it.
Yeah, I'll motion to approve the item for an award of merit.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll second.
and we have a second. Please call roll.
Commissioner Almendral, Commissioner Escamilla,
Yes?
Commissioner Hardy,
Yes.
Commissioner Jauregui,
Yes.
Commissioner Rincon, Commissioner Ship,
Aye.
Vice Chair Christie,
No.
Chair Marashi.
No.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Almendral and Commissioner Rincon absent.
Yeah, you can make a comment, yes.
Okay, I think that we need to think about what makes a property qualify for the historic register. First of all, there's criteria, and one of the criteria is it needs to be an exceptional example of architecture. Well, not all properties are an exceptional example of a specific style of architecture, even if they have elements that designate them as a specific architectural style. This house probably would never fit in the criteria to be an exceptional example of the particular architectural style. Not because it doesn't have the elements, it's just not over the top, you know, maybe size-wise or where it is in the neighborhood or what district it's in. And then some of the other criteria is if somebody famous lived there, if some special, something special occurred there. I mean, most properties that would never fall under that criteria anyway. So I don't think we need to look at it that way. And then say a property did meet the criteria to be on Santa Ana Historic Register of Properties, they could have the option to change the vinyl windows back, you know, to the material they were originally and the style and the way they open, et cetera, I believe.
Okay. All right, so now we're talking about property 821 South Vanessa Avenue. Is there any discussion or motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that this property not be awarded the award of merit.
Is there a second? Not hearing a second. Is there an alternate motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the property at 821 South Van Ness Avenue receive a vote, yes, vote for award of merit of a historic preservation award.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Great. So we have a first by Commissioner Hardy and a second by Commissioner Escamilla. Secretary, please call for roll call vote.
Commissioner Almendral, Commissioner Escamilla,
Yes?
Commissioner Hardy,
Yes.
Commissioner Jauregui,
Yes.
Commissioner Rincon, Commissioner Ship,
Yes.
Vice Chair Christie,
No.
Chair Marashi.
Yes.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Almendral and Commissioner Rincon absent.
Okay, yes, Commissioner.
I just want to say that I have reached out in the past to Wilshire Square, French Park, Floral Park, begging them to provide nominations for Historic Preservation Awards this year. And they all did provide Historic Preservation Awards, and they all did receive Historic Preservation Awards. This year, I failed at reaching out to enough people to get any awards, nomination awards at all. So that's why they all ended up in Hettinger Park, because that's my neighborhood and that's the neighborhood I know. So just let me show you. It's only one page. It's on the internet. You just fill it out, and then if you're not sure of any of the information, just contact planning staff and say, hey, I think this deserves an award, but I'm not sure. Could you verify? And they'll tell you. They might say, yeah, they've done it to me. Yes, this could qualify as a nomination, but it doesn't fit in the time period where the work was done. So either wait or it's too late. You know, you'll get very specific information for this one page. You don't have to fill out all the blanks. Just let planning staff know, hey, can we nominate this or not? And that's all you have to do. And all these other neighborhoods that are districts, they'll blow Hettinger Park out of the water. They just have to get down and dirty and do it. I told you, Ed, to do it. All right, thank you.
I've nominated a few in the past in Floral Park, so. I want to take this opportunity to thank the ad hoc committee, especially Janelle Hardy and also Commissioner Almendral for their hard work and dedication in bringing this in front of us. Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes the administrative matters. Moving on to the work study session. James Williams will now provide a brief presentation on the Chapter 30 updates.
One second. Okay, thank you. Yes, so I've prepared a presentation summarizing the work that's been done thus far and then getting into the specifics of, or a high-level overview of what specifically is being proposed at this point. I'd like to start, however, by summarizing the purpose of a work study session. A work study session is an opportunity for a decision-making body and the community to provide, and the community to preview proposed ordinance amendments prior to a public hearing. The work study session is intended to allow questions and high-level comments provided by the commission. No deliberation or action is taken as a result of the work study session. And comments may be made on the work study session during general public comments. I would now like to summarize the meetings concerning Chapter 30 revisions that have taken place to date. On November 7th, 2024, a work study session, the first work study session pertaining to Chapter 30 revisions was held as part of the Historic Resources Commission meeting on that date. And the ad hoc committee was formed to work with staff on revisions. On May 5th, staff and the ad hoc committee held the first ad hoc committee meeting. During the meeting, staff and the committee discussed draft content for the potential Chapter 30 revisions based on the November 2024 study session. And the ad hoc committee directed staff to prepare draft ordinance revisions for the next meeting. That next meeting was held on July 24th, 2025, and staff presented proposed draft revisions and the committee provided feedback. A third ad hoc committee meeting was held on October 16th, 2025, and staff presented proposed draft revisions and the committee provided feedback once again. I'd like to summarize the preliminary recommendations that were made during the 2024 work study session. So last year during the November 7th meeting of the commission, a work study session was conducted pertaining to 3 issues to be considered for new regulations in Chapter 30. I should say new or revised regulations in Chapter 30 of the Santa Ana Municipal Code. These were specifically 1, modifications to a building versus modification to its site, 2, demolition by neglect, and 3, historic property transfer disclosure requirements. I'd like to provide a brief overview of the preliminary recommendations made in 2024. For the building versus site issue, staff recommended revisions to Section 30-1 and 30-6 to make parts of a property outside, parts of a designated property outside the principal building's footprint, part of the designated historical property. The reason for this is that Santa Ana's existing regulations, namely Chapter 30-6, do not explicitly require review of modifications to the property outside the existing building. As such, there's potential for changes to the landscaping, hardscaping, or detached buildings that would diminish or would have the potential to diminish the historic character of a property without the benefit of historic design review by staff or the commission. To remedy this, it was recommended that a quote-unquote trigger be added to Chapter 30 or Section 30-6 to require review in certain circumstances of modifications proposed for areas outside the designated building footprint. Staff also made recommendations relative to the demolition by neglect of historic properties. By way of reminder, demolition by neglect is the willful action of a property owner to allow a historic property to deteriorate such that it is effectively demolished. Such an action is typically intended to circumvent regulations on modifications or the permitted demolition of historic property. As part of the 2024 study session, staff recommended a strong demolition by neglect ordinance that would consist generally of the following: standards of maintenance or disrepair that illuminate what conditions would constitute neglect, procedures for the abatement of demolition by neglect and penalties for violations, and an appeals process to ensure a property owner is granted due process. Staff also provided recommendations for regulations requiring the disclosure of the historic designation status of a property at the time of a real estate transaction. This would be intended to provide transparency in real estate sales and to clarify to a buyer that a historic property may be subject to special regulations and requirements, particularly related to maintenance and modifications. Okay, so now I'd like to present a summary of the draft recommendations for revisions to Chapter 30 as prepared by staff in coordination with the ad hoc committee. So this represents the product that was, the revisions that were produced as a result of the 3 meetings with the ad hoc committee. Okay, so the revision process was guided by a set of overarching objectives, specifically the modernization of Chapter 30 for clarity, enforceability, and consistency with state and federal preservation standards, strengthening of protections against demolition by neglect, enhancing administrative efficiency by distinguishing major and minor work, and improving transparency for property owners and buyers through disclosure and objective standards. So to recap, the main issue areas for revision were building versus site, demolition by neglect, and historic property transfer disclosure. As part of the revisions, staff augmented Section 30-1.5 with new and clarified terms consistent with modern historic preservation practice. These include, but are not limited to, the following: character-defining feature. Among other things, this term was added to clarify that architectural elements, materials, landscapes, or landscaping, and spatial relationships within a property may qualify as character-defining. Also included a definition for internal setting, which relates to the building versus site issue. The internal setting includes the areas outside the footprint of a property's primary building that may contribute to its historic character, such as landscaping, hardscaping, and detached buildings. Other newly defined terms include demolition by neglect, hardscaping, and routine maintenance. These were added to help guide enforcement of the proposed and existing regulations. The updated definitions better align Chapter 30 with the Secretary of the Interior standards and with State of California preservation terminology. Okay. So the first issue I'll present pertains to the regulation of changes to a building versus those to its site. To address this issue, staff prepared a major rewrite of Section 30-6, which pertains to the modification of historical properties. Most of the changes related to 2 items. 1, the differentiation between major and minor modifications, and 2, changes made to the designated building versus those to its internal setting. The draft revisions propose that major modifications require commission approval and include additions to buildings, changes in materials, the removal of architectural features or alterations or new construction visible from the public right-of-way. Minor modifications require administrative approval under these revisions and includes such work as like-for-like repairs, rear-facing solar panels, minor landscape or accessory building changes. Under the revised regulations, minor modifications would be subject to staff review and the approval by staff of an administrative certificate of appropriateness. The revised Section 30-6 would also differentiate between changes to the internal setting of the building and those to the building itself, identifying the types of internal setting modifications that would establish triggers to review changes to the site. In addition, well, this is repeating myself, but in addition, minor modifications to the building or internal setting of a property are subject to an administrative certificate of appropriateness issued by planning staff. Apologies. The proposed revisions also introduce new measures in Section 30-6 and a new 30-8 related to demolition by neglect. Revisions to Section 30-7 consist primarily of abatement and penalties for when a property is effectively removed or effectively demolished and cannot be saved. Specifically, the new regulations would require a 5-year construction and planning moratorium for illegal or neglect-related demolition. Under the moratorium, no new construction would be allowed, and no new planning applications would be accepted for the full 5 years. During the moratorium, there would also be a requirement that the property owner adhere to requirements for fencing and site maintenance standards. The revisions to this section also require a documentation and salvage plan be issued prior to the removal of the demolished building from the property. The new section 30-8 would consist of minimum maintenance standards tailored to historic properties. In brief, the maintenance standards provide that a new detailed section specifying minimum upkeep standards for specific elements of a building to prevent demolition by neglect, a list of structural and aesthetic deterioration conditions that could constitute violations, required maintenance of character-defining features and landscaping, and it would also allow the building official to identify deterioration before it becomes hazardous. The new demolition by neglect requirements maintain the existing procedures for an appeal of a commission decision to the City Council as detailed under Section 30-9. In addition, new regulations in Section 30-10 would provide a new appeals process for staff decisions, specifically for disputes regarding the identification of character-defining features of historic property. As for the historic property transfer disclosure, a new Section 30-11 would require the owner of a property to notify the buyer of any applicable historic status, including individual resources and historic district contributors listed on the city register, the national register, or the state register. Disclosure would be made using a specific form provided by the city. That concludes the overview of the draft Chapter 30 revisions. The next steps in this process would include the following. Historic Resources Commission public hearing of the draft ordinance anticipated for March 2026, and a City Council public hearing of the draft ordinance anticipated for April 2026. With that, we will open the work study session for discussion.
I would like to open, well, maybe not. I would like to open the meeting for the public comments. Is there anybody from the public that would like to talk on the item? Secretary, do we have anybody?
If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon and unmute yourself. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we have one public speaker by the name of Tim Rush.
Mr. Rush, would you like to talk on the matter?
Well, I'm glad to see that the issue of the site as well as the site around the structure is going to be addressed. This has particular significance to me, and all of you know why, with regard to the Maharaja's property. Had that revision been part of our ordinance, the miscellaneous additions to the Maharaja property would not have likely been approved. And that, I believe, has been desecrated. That site has, because of the miscellaneous additions that have been made by the owners to the property, and thereby diminished its historic standing. No question about it. People look at it and are aghast at what they see. It's unfortunate. But I'm glad that this change is being proposed, and I hope it does actually make its way into a final approved, council-approved revision. So this is a good thing, and the rest of the additions I also think are positive. And so that would be my commentary on this. So I appreciate your consideration of my remarks. By the way, I didn't say it earlier, but Janelle, I was unaware of the distinction in your SD that would be a carve-out for how the 4 properties, I know I'm off topic, but nonetheless, I'm going to take off. So congratulations to Henninger Park for getting this needed improvement to the historic neighborhood. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, closing public comment and bringing it back to the commission. Does the commission have any comments, directions, consideration for staff related to the proposal updates? Yes, Vice Chair.
Okay, I just, 2 questions that I have. Doesn't all of our historic homes have a plaque on the outside of their home?
Thank you, Vice Chair. A large majority do, but not all of them. It's not currently a code requirement, but what we've been doing is including as a condition of approval for listings. So I think maybe 2 years ago, we decided to include it as part of a condition. So 2 years ago, any property that was approved to be listed by this commission, it's a requirement for that plaque to be installed.
Okay, so that takes care of the ones that do have the homes. That's where we're going forward, of the real estate owner have no defense on saying we did not know this was a historic home, right? Is that correct? The ones that have, as we, if they were selling that home, we still, if that plaque is there and it's identified on the outside as a historic home, that already gives them notice that this is it. Am I barking up the wrong tree?
Are you referring to the proposed changes for the disclosure requirement?
Right.
Okay.
That if it's already there, okay, and on the house, then it's already identified. And so the real estate agent in listing the house have no defense, right?
We have over 700 properties that are listed currently. I couldn't tell you what the percentage of properties that have the plaque. This stems from a commission concern and just community concern that homeowners who are, neglecting the property or absentee landlords could claim that they weren't aware that the property is historic. So this is trying to close the loop a little bit and get up front of the issue in requiring property owners who are selling a property to disclose it to sellers. And so then when there's code enforcement activity or staff reaching out about it, it's not a surprise to them that they're actually living in a historic property. So it's one of many measures that we're trying to kind of implement to ensure that homes are maintained pristine.
Right, and what I'm saying that we should, as the owner is notified, but the plaque on that is definitely, we need to include that it's already identified. It's by the plaque that's on the outside of the building. So I'm trying to close it even more that the real estate agent or the new buyer did not say, well, I didn't know. You see what I mean? I want it closed even more so we don't have that situation, because the plaque is there. And then we also are telling them, because if you're telling them as they're coming in, they can say, well, we never know it, then that negates any of their arguments for not obeying the rules or the historic. If they can define it a little bit more by including properties have a plaque or something that already identify it there, it's like buyers beware.
So
I don't know how it needs to be closed a little bit more. A little more, restrictive, so that the buyer can say, hey, I didn't know, okay? If there's some way, Brandon, that there's some kind of more verbiage
Yeah.
that can go in there
If
as
I could
legally?
clarify, Vice Chair, the question, I'm not very clear. Are you making like a recommendation for us to include that a plaque be a code requirement that's be in
Yeah.
our chat? That's what you're asking?
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
just
it
trying
can
to
be
explain it,
discussed.
you guys put it together, okay?
That wasn't specifically something that was discussed as part of the ad hoc. I think the intent of this property transfer disclosure was to alleviate just that, because not every property has a plaque. And I think efforts to go back and,
But the ones that do, it's already there. I'm addressing the ones that do have that sign as far as the property transfer, that it's already there.
I'm just
Am
not
I-
clear on what the ask is for those.
If I can just chime in a little bit. So there's already laws related to disclosure. So if someone knows that the property is historic, they're legally required to disclose that as part of a sale of real property. So if someone has a plaque on their property, it could be an identifier as like, hey, this is historic, but there could be similar to some people that put security signs out in front when they don't actually have the alarm system. Just because there's the plaque doesn't mean that the property is historic. So that's what the proposed amendment would be. That would be something that doesn't rely on a physical marker, but it would be something that's tied to the property itself.
Okay. I'm just trying to get it restricted even more, so,
Well, let's hear from a realtor. Commissioner Healy.
Relative.
I did work on that. We did work on that. And one of the things from the real estate point of life is when we look at a property either for buying or selling, we immediately ask for a property profile, which is what you do before a prelim, which is the formal document. And in that, it will disclose the debt, the tax base. It will disclose the easements, gas, light, water, and if there's liens. And I suggested if we can have, because the county will have on record that it's a historic property because there'll be a tax adjustment, right? Because of that, there should also be a disclosure stating this is a historic property in the property profile. So whether the plaque got lost, because that's a physical object that can be taken away, it could be faked but not on documentation. Once it's documented, it's like an easement. It is a legal document that either buyer or seller or refi or whatever movement, the buyer and seller would be aware, and the lenders, that we have a document here that's in the title itself, in the title report. So that would really close all the gaps you're concerned about. Even if you don't have a physical plaque, it's like your name, your social security number, it stays with you. That is in writing, that's part of your documentation, unless there's a legal form that changes all of that, but that's a different story. So I think that would solve that once this process can be done, and that if that could take effect, I think that would take care, and it would be the best thing for those who want that opportunity of a historic property, or those who don't want to get involved in something like that. It is a full disclosure, and it's one of the best ways that benefits everybody. My 2 cents.
Any other commissioners with questions, comments? Nope. Yeah.
No, I think Commissioner Hardy did a pretty good explanation as to kind of what our thought process was there. I think the other kind of major points were highlighted by staff, and we try to kind of keep the intent of what was discussed here at the commission, just to kind of strengthen the requirements within our historic code. There's also, for those of us diving into the details, you kind of gave staff discretion to potentially, I believe, go back when it came to issues of citing. So one of the concerns was, our existing historic descriptions don't necessarily include descriptions of the site itself. So we do kind of leave it to staff discretion if that might be potentially impacted, so it can come back to us if that is a potential issue. So we try to build in some flexibility to these revisions.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, that concludes the work study session. Moving on to staff comments.
This is the last meeting for HRC of the year, so I just want to thank all of the commissioners for all the work this year, the successful awards program, and I'm looking forward to next year, starting off with handing out the awards and then moving forward with the updates to Chapter 30. So thank you all.
Thank you. That concludes the staff comments. Moving on to closing comments from the commission. Let's start with Commissioner Escamilla.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to send this over, and I'll remind myself with this comment. There's a California Preservation Society statewide effort to basically encourage the visitation of historic sites in different communities. So it's a relatively informal process. It was part of their general newsletter update, so I'll send that over right now if I can find it, but just thought it would be good. And really, it's super simple. Sometimes it's just like letting people know, like, hey, go walk your neighborhood on this date, and then just kind of sharing some of that description. So it's a statewide, push to get folks to explore some of these historic sites. Definitely a lot to explore in Santa Ana, so I'll send over that info to be shared.
Did you not want to agendize for our next meeting?
No,
for Floral Park?
No, for that one, I guess, I didn't realize that the nomination period had already closed on October 2nd, so that's where the closure was happening. Otherwise, yeah, I would have just moved to nominate.
Keep it in mind.
Okay. Commissioner Hardy.
Yes, I want to thank my fellow commissioners for all the critical thinking and questioning and allowing me the opportunity to tell about Hettinger Park, which so many people have not known for so long about. And I want to thank planning staff for putting together the nomination forms, so detailed, and I really like the way they read. And congratulations to our nominations winners, our award winners in Hettinger Park neighborhood. I hope you can celebrate. Thank you.
Commissioner Shipp.
I'm just excited to be back. Too bad this is the last meeting for this year, but I see a lot of new faces. I was talking to a gentleman over there. I just want to get back acquainted, get back and doing this work. So good to see everyone, and hello to everyone else. That's all.
Thank you. Welcome. Glad to have you back. Commissioner Harrigan.
Well, I enjoyed the work with the ad hoc. That was very interesting and illuminating, and I enjoyed participating in that. And thank you, Janelle, for the education on Hettinger, that special category, because I wasn't aware of that either. So that's why I was kind of like, but I do like the spirit of keeping the character of our community and recognizing those people that want to do that. So it could be like a carve out or a subcategory, maybe throughout the city. Those who keep the character, make the effort, maybe we should think about recognizing people, because it encourages people, instead of doing something at a hodgepodge, knowing that this, and maybe some properties have the capacity to be registered, so this would be encouraging. So I like that. Second, we invite everybody in Wilshire Square for December 6th, the first Saturday in December, for our annual Christmas parade. We are in the mad planning category right now, so look for our website for December the 6th for the Wilshire Square Holiday Parade. So thank you very much, and have a fantastic and wonderful Christmas. Forget the calories, enjoy the food, and a beautiful, blessed holidays.
Thank you. Vice Chair.
First of all, I want to thank staff for this detail on the work session and then also on the awards. I want to thank the committee for the award nomination and so forth and everything. Hettinger Park is a beautiful, to go to, sorry, I cut myself off, and to learn about it even more. So it's a rewarding, beautiful neighborhood, and so forth. And the work that goes into these ad hoc committees. Thank you for your time. You have all of this and the staff. And I too want to wish everybody happy holidays, that it's coming up. And remember, it's family time. This is a time for families. and to get there. And one of the things that I noticed in Europe with my long trip to Europe is that in the Netherlands, in Denmark, and then Norway, it's all families. They sit, eat, no cell phones whatsoever. They sit and talk, and they're laughing all the time. So just remember, we have family. We can't get rid of it, but we're family. We, in the forgive and enjoy the presence that we have with him. So thank you again. Thank you, staff and everyone.
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate Planning Manager Ricardo Soto. Congratulations on your recent promotion. I also want to thank staff for the great discussion we had tonight, and especially James for your presentations. Thank you very much. I also want to congratulate the Henninger homeowners for winning the awards. Way to go. I also want to thank Comlink for allowing us to come and do a presentation. The whole HRC was there. Especially I want to thank Vice Chair and Commissioners Harrigy and also Janelle Hardy, Commissioner Hardy, for answering questions during that. And again, I want every neighborhood leader to realize if you need somebody to come in and do a presentation about the HRC, we're here. We're here to help out with that. Let's see, got that. And then also want to thank the city for the proclamation and for attending our Floral Park celebration for the dedication of the historic district. And finally, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and a joyous holiday season, and spend it with your loved ones and families. And we'll see you next year. Also, there is going to be one last thing for the HRC subcommittee to do is December 4th. We're going to have our subcommittee that's going to deal with the public art meeting for the first time. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's that. All right. The next regular meeting will be held Thursday, January 1st, 2026 at 4:30 in the City Council chambers located at 22 Civic Center Plaza. And with that, I adjourn the meeting.
Are we meeting January 1st?
That's what it says, unless it's changed. Yep. Yeah.
We're definitely, are you kidding? You got the Rose Parade, the Rose Bowl? No.